Thanks for joining us on the road, Jared, at the coast.
Roadshow.
For this particular episode. And we're going to pretty much finalise the Friday the 13th series. We're going to do part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. I think we haven't, the only one we haven't done now would be Freddy vs. Jason, is that correct? I don't believe
you know, I'm not the best person to ask because I thought we'd done this one, so don't ask me.
I don't believe we have.
No.
So if this is a repeat, it will be quickly deleted.
No.
All right, quickly what we've been watching, Jared. Dark Side of the Ring, Season 4. I watched the first episode.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
The quality hasn't dipped. And you're correct that, you know, they are... Some of the stories in Season 3 were a bit... They were out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether they were fully looking into the stuff that we would be interested in.
Yep.
This one's come back okay. The first episode was quite good. Something that was I didn't know much about, but it was firmly in the WWE, ECW, all that sort of shit. Like we knew of he had the pair of them had been involved in those particular wrestling groups.
Yeah.
So it was interesting stuff.
Yeah. And when we spoke about the end of Season 3, I went off, you know, limited fucking knowledge, half-cocked and said, yeah, I reckon they should wrap it up. And then as soon as I saw the stories in Season 4, I was like, oh yeah, I'm looking forward looking forward to those.
Now, you've watched all 4, yes?
So, I don't know what's going on with our release schedule, but there's... Available to us, there's 4 episodes, but it's episode 1, 2, 4, and 6 in the order that we're expecting them to come.
Right.
So I've watched 3 of them. Episodes 1, 2, and 4 in the release order, which is...
And are they all good?
Yeah, all pretty solid. I enjoyed the Doink the Clown one the most. I think it was a bit of a loose unit. Obviously, the Chris Candido and Sonny one was quite interesting as well. Yeah. And the other one was a story I'd barely even heard of. So that one was cool to check out as well. So, yeah, good stories coming out again.
Good. The only other... I fucking wish I didn't have to admit this, but I will.
No, you don't.
Clearly, we've been down here for an evening, and last night we got a few drinks in after we got here, and we decided to put on the Family Stallone, which is Sylvester Stallone and family in a reality TV series.
Yeah. Which
is 6 episodes long. So we sat up all night and watched the fucking entire series.
Well, you know what? I think we lost track.
We lost track.
It was 6 to 8. I
think
it was 8 episodes.
I think it was, okay. Whatever it was, each episode seemed to be similar.
Yeah. There's
a lot of discussion about who they're dating, because he's got 3 daughters.
Yeah.
And Ray brought this up, that a friend of his had said that Stallone was a bully. And look, I don't know if bully's the right term, but he's clearly from an era that carries on with this kind of macho crap about, you know, having to vet boyfriends and all this sort of fucking bullshit that goes on.
Never highlighted more than when they, you know, pull a prank and suggest that one of the daughters is pregnant. And he
wigs out.
He's about to fucking kill somebody.
Yeah.
And then we, you know, just out of interest, we decided to sort of check up how old she probably was at the time of filming. And we were estimating she was 24 when this was going on. So I'm sort of sitting there going, what was that all about?
Exactly. And again, it might be played up. It's reality television. It's played up for cameras and stuff like that. But I got enough of a sense that he comes from a bygone era.
Yeah,
of carrying on with this crap about how you threaten their boyfriends and all this because you're looking out for your daughter.
Yeah.
When clearly you're just being a fucking wanker.
And as I said to you, you get the sense in the show that he fucking thinks he's Rambo.
I think
he thinks that these things that he's accomplished on screen are things that he's actually done.
If he's not Rambo, he's Rocky.
Yeah.
He seems to be living in this fantasy land.
Yeah, and there's a part where one of his daughters beats him in a fucking shootout at a shooting range, and then, you know, he starts talking about the boxing, and me and you kind of looked at each other and said, well, when you asked Dolph Lundgren to hit you, he just about punched your fucking heart out of your body. So
you're not a boxer, mate.
Yeah.
That's, you know, I love Sylvester.
I do.
But
but there was a hint of
You've got to understand some things.
There's a hint of hero worship. He fucking worships himself.
Yeah. I got a bit of that. I did get a bit of that.
But there was so many strange moments. I mean, seeing Dolph Lundgren in there but getting nothing more than Dolph sitting there going like about 5 times. And then
Frank Stallone.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah. I think we could have cut Frank.
Yeah.
Because he came across badly too.
Yeah. The strangest thing for me was Al Pacino.
Al looks fucking homeless. Well... I mean,
weird.
If the paparazzi had taken a photo of us, they would have had Sylvester Stallone gives drink to homeless guy. Because Pacino looks homeless.
Yeah, but it was a strange watch because the girls seem reasonably nice, well adjusted considering their sort of their status, but they just seem like they get up to the similar sort of shenanigans that you see in all sorts of those reality shows. But Sylvester inserts himself in.
Some of it.
A number of them. And then sits there and goes, why do I feel like I'm on the Real Housewives? It's like, well, because you signed up for a season of that, mate. Like, you're basically...
You're one of the housewives, Sylvester.
Yeah.
Look, I think at the end of the day, and this is not a knock on Sylvester, because he clearly as an actor at his stature, he made a lot of films, he would have been away for a long time, so he would not have been around a lot, and he does say that. He does say that he, there were times when he was away for months and months on end. So I think you'll find that his wife's fucking raised those 3 girls.
Okay.
Well, I think she's done most of the work in that regard.
Yep.
And it feels kind of artificial.
Yeah.
He's trying to reinsert himself back in, and it's just fucking...
And he keeps dragging his Uncle Frank along.
It doesn't feel right.
Inappropriate comments.
I don't know. Again, I don't know how much of it's legitimate.
I mean, I would have liked to get through fucking 4 episodes without being subjected to Frankie whipping out, this is the end. I was like, oh, God, here we go again.
When they go to his concert, I was just like, fucking hell, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Frank sees it as a comeback.
Yeah.
He's on this show as a comeback.
Yeah. Well, he was available whenever, seemingly, for the first 3 to 4 episodes, and then he just disappears. Yeah. I think maybe he was asked to disappear.
I mean, it was an interesting watch. And look, I don't know how well it painted Sylvester. I think maybe he should step back from it.
Yeah, I mean, he had his usual kind of charming moments, but then he kind of, the family interactions were a little bit odd sometimes. The best thing was when he spent fucking 20 seconds with Arnie, and Arnie's still rocking the charm and talking about his donkeys in his office.
I must admit, it was kind of cool to see those two together, kind of as buddies. It was something cool about that, and I like that.
Yep.
But yeah, look, just a little bit weird. Look, we probably shouldn't have watched it. I'm not gonna lie. There was a few drinks last night, so I'm not gonna sit here and say that we actually put our efforts into watching.
Well, maybe that's why we can only remember 6 episodes out of 8, because there's a couple of scenes missing.
Yeah, there was not quite. Fucking hell, if I have 6 beers these nowadays, I'm asleep. Okay, did you watch anything else?
I watched Exists.
Hey.
I quite liked it.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job with it.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue with it is the human characters are just so uninteresting. And
it kind of goes a little bit off the fucking reservation at the end.
You don't really get on board with them, but in terms of some of the found footage kind of work that they do with fucking Bigfoot, good stuff. There's some really good stuff in there with the way they shoot it.
The first time you see it, where he's panning across, and then you just see it moving in the opposite direction. He tries to come back to it, but he doesn't see it in time.
Well, a number of things like that when they hit it with the car and stuff like that. Like the bike sequence was.
The bike sequence was excellent.
So it was kind of cool.
And the monster is done by Weta, the Weta Workshop. So it looks really good.
Yeah,
it actually looks really good. So there's a bit of effort in that.
Yep.
And it's done pretty well.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with it.
One of the better Bigfoot
pictures I've come across,
Shit.
Which isn't saying a lot.
No. Anything else?
No.
All right. Let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 1989's Jason Takes Manhattan.
the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. New York has a new problem. Rated R. Starts Friday, July 28th at theaters everywhere.
Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, from 1989. Written and directed by Rob Hedden, who also wrote and directed You May Not Kiss the Bride.
Classic.
It's produced by Randy Cheveldave, who produced a Christmas film that I've seen called Guess Who's Coming to Christmas. It stars Nick Lachey's brother.
Good. But you're happy you watch that one?
We watch it every year.
Fuck. What's wrong with you?
I watch a lot of fucking shit when Christmas rolls around.
Yeah, but there's a lot of interesting shit you could be watching.
Is there? I haven't seen it.
I keep telling you to watch Christmas Evil, but you're watching that shit.
Oh yeah, no, I'll get that this year because I've finally fucking reconnected with Shudder. Okay, it stars Jensen Deggett as Rennie, Scott Reeves as Sean Robertson, Peter Mark Richmond as Charles McCulloch, and Kane Hodder as Jason. Budget was $5 million. Box office was, I believe, the least successful of all the Fridays at $14 million. And the trivia, this was on Internet Movie Database, most of the cast had a Friday the 13th marathon and watched parts 1 through 7 the day prior to shooting. They were intent on making part 8 the best one.
Mm. Love the optimism.
Alright, here we go. I'm going to go out on a limb, Jared, and say this is neck and neck with part 5 as the absolute worst of the series.
Mm.
This is... I've never seen a slasher movie with so many kills that is so boring.
Yeah.
Jason is the worst he's ever been. He looks terrible. He lumbers around like a fucking big idiot. The acting, writing and directing are just bottom of the barrel stuff. And the filmmaking is just fucking clueless.
Okay.
To what Friday the 13th is even clear about.
You love it.
Half a star.
Half a star.
Yeah.
Whew, yeah, I don't know where to go on the stars because I do enjoy even this sort of stuff. And part 5, I still get enjoyment out of them.
Mm.
But I think it'd be fair enough. Like I was thinking around a 2, but I could probably go to a 1.5 even. But that's not to say I don't still enjoy watching it.
Okay.
There's still things about it that I get out of it. But you're right, she's pretty boring. Some of the characters are just baffling. Like anytime there is actually a character. But as you said, there's a couple of really bad things. You know, when they talk about things becoming fucking parodies of themselves, this one kind of sneaks into that category at times. With the way that Jason kind of appears somewhere that he just clearly wasn't a second or two before, and you know, fucking seemingly one of the great swimmers of our time.
Now I'm gonna ask this question: is he swimming or is he fucking walking on the bottom of the ocean?
Yeah, I'd have to think he was fucking swimming.
Where did he learn any of this?
I don't know. Well, I remember he was hanging around Uncle Charles's swimming lessons, so I don't know.
In the first film, the fucking bloke couldn't swim a stroke. Fucking drowned.
Exactly.
Right?
So there's a few questions to be
And
had
then
there.
this brings some questions into Freddy versus Jason, where, you know, Freddy's afraid of fire, Jason's afraid of water. Clearly not in this film.
No, I mean, in this one, he's just extremely comfortable with it. He's comfortable in bodies of water that I wouldn't be dipping in. So yeah,
you said 1.5.
Yeah, I think 1.5 would be fair. I can't even remember what I gave part 5. I think I'd laugh at part 5 more than I can get fucking laughs out of this one. So yeah, it's not a strong entry, that's for sure.
No. All right. Straight off the bat, likes.
Straight off the boat.
I've actually got a couple of likes.
Yeah, I've got a handful.
The hot rock death.
Pretty solid.
Not bad. That was alright. Although how the bloke mistakes Jason for fucking Julius is just beyond belief.
I mean, the stench coming off Jason would be something you'd smell from...
He is fucking dead and waterlogged.
You're right. You'd smell him before he actually got on the boat.
He could be like 100 metres down the fucking hallway.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, what's that smell?
Yeah, what's that? God.
Oh, it's a fucking walking corpse.
I reckon the whole movie they should have had someone looking at Rennie's dog going.
Yeah. Did that thing? Have I stepped in that thing? Shit.
Yeah. Did your dog having a roll in something before he got on?
And he's like, no. Good fight today, Julius. I better work on my left-right-left combo. Fucking work on it.
Yeah.
I mean, you get your ass kicked in that fight.
I'd have been saying, Julius, did you happen to fucking catch a shower yet, mate? Because something's a bit ripe.
Something's amiss, Julius. I think you should go and have a shower because fuck.
Yeah. I can recommend a good deodorant for you if you like.
But that kill itself, which I believe was reshot. I think the original time he ended up with darts in his eyes.
Yeah. Okay.
It was reshot, and I think that one actually works okay.
Yep. So, just in general, the Jason on a cruise ship idea is something
You can get behind?
I can get behind. I think it could have worked a little better than it did. Obviously, separate issue altogether to the New York stuff, which we'll get into, but the idea of being on the cruise ship wasn't necessarily... I don't think that was such a bad thing.
Do you subscribe to the theory that you actually just do it on a cruise ship, you don't do New York? That's what a lot of people think, is why you put your money into doing the cruise ship.
Well, weren't they two separate ideas that were approved?
Yeah.
One was New York, one was do it on a cruise ship, and they kind of whipped them together. I think if the case was that your budget was so small that this was the best you could get out of New York, absolutely. You just stick on the cruise ship.
Yep.
Or you find a different fucking city to go to if New York was that fucking hard.
Well, I guess Crystal Lake seems to head out into the white blue ocean.
You can get anywhere from Crystal Lake.
Go fucking anywhere you want.
You just get to, a particular waterway that get you where you need to go. You get anywhere from Crystal Lake. So
I would agree. I don't think the idea is a bad one.
No. Taking Jason out of that environment into something a little fresher.
Yeah, it would have been
more... fine.
I can see why they kind of jumped at it, considering the series was 8 films old.
Yeah.
And I see why they went for New York City.
Yep.
As an idea.
Yep.
But
Jason in any city, you could have whipped a couple of good ideas out to get a kill or get people in an interesting situation there. If you weren't going to do that, you can still do it with the boat. Now, I don't think they used the boat to its full extent, but that idea was not the problem of the movie for me.
Correct. Okay. Julius.
Love him.
He's my favourite character.
Yeah.
He's the only character who shows common sense.
Yep.
He's the only character that shows any guts. He regroups everyone and gathers up the weapons, and I do actually like that, school's out, McCulloch,
Yeah.
Fucking, we don't listen to your shit anymore.
Yeah.
We're in trouble, something's wrong.
And do something about your fucking head.
Yeah. And dude, did you try and sleep with one of your students? That's what I heard on the void. We'll talk about this later.
I haven't seen anything, but I've heard about it.
Yeah. There's a tape circulating.
In those days, it was the Go-Go's tape, Rob Lowe, McCulloch.
Yeah. Oh, the Go-Go's tape. Fuck. How'd you get your hands on that?
I can't say I've sorted it out.
No. I don't think I want to. No. What they was doing. And he fights Jason to the death.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that scene.
And that is the only memorable moment in the film, to me.
Yeah.
Is when he gets his fucking head punched off.
Yeah, it's the only real standout that would go in a fucking highlights package.
People sort of laugh at how sort of silly it is.
Yeah, and some people hate that. Some people hate that in their fucking Friday the 13th films and their slashes. I'm like, Matt, that's more part 6 for me. And that's what we needed at that point, like a little bit of fucking levity in the situation. And
exactly.
So I was all for that sort of stuff. And we can't, how serious can we take Jason at this point? By this point, this was the 3rd time he'd been reanimated after clearly being confirmed dead. The first few pictures, there was no kind of, we've buried the guy.
Yeah.
With this one, part 6 we buried him.
6.
Part 7.
7 is waterlogged, and we're going back to part 8. He was also waterlogged.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, by this point, a little bit of that sort of stuff is...
Of course you can't take it seriously, and I find that's the shining moment where they don't take themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
And they get a laugh out of it.
They get a bit silly with it, but...
In a way, I would have much rathered, and this is no disrespect to Scott Reeves, because I feel like his character's not given much to do. I would have much rather Julius was the final guy. The guy who survived.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, A, the character's better, B, I think VC Dupree does a pretty good job. I actually think he's charismatic, he has the minerals to make that character kind of an adversary for Jason.
Yeah.
But they get away with killing him in the right fashion.
Yeah. He's not, he suffers from what just about all the characters do, in that there's not much to him.
No.
They don't give him a hell of a lot to do, but yeah, I think
he boxes well and he stinks.
He's the standout, memorable one.
Yeah.
Well, Jason stinks.
Jason stinks, but his buddy seems to think that Julius is also stinking.
Yeah, there's nothing odd here about the stench that's just come into the bloody room.
And the last good bit for me was the shot in Times Square.
Yeah,
is genuinely kind of cool.
Best part of the
actually
movie.
See Jason in Times Square and the whole sort of 360-degree pan shot that they do when they come up out of the...
Yeah, it's the best kind of... It's the shot that we waited the whole friggin' movie for.
Yeah. And it is genuinely well done.
It's genuinely a pretty solid shot there, yeah, and good. I love the boombox moment leading up when he kind of lifts the mask and the kid's like, oh, fuck,
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's good.
You got anything else?
I do.
Oh, shit, here we go. This will be interesting.
So I do have to give a small amount of credit. You mentioned it with the one specific kill, but I've got to give a small amount of credit for at least trying to put Jason in different situations for the kills. It doesn't always work, but the Julius one is a standout. The Hot Rocks, as you said, they try a little with the guitar, and it doesn't quite pan out for those ones, but I at least give them some credit for doing something a little different. It's not just,
machetes.
Yeah, they tried to mix it up a touch and succeeded to a small degree.
No, I'll take that.
I'll give him that. Jason just charging through glass doors was great any time. When people fucking pull the door out and sneak through it, he just kind of walks behind them in still the same kind of pace and just crashes through it. I love that sort of stuff. Also, Jason on the subway. Again, it doesn't really pay off to the full extent, but it's a hint of what we thought we were getting for the whole movie. The first time you saw it, and I'm still not over that. I'm still not over it. But Jason on the subway, you get a bit of that New York vibe, the New York surrounding, And that's an example of you not actually having to fucking be in New York to get that. There was ways to do that.
You made a really good point. And I know we're not in dislikes yet, and this kind of falls into a dislike, but...
Well, how about I'll whip my last one out, and then we can get into the dislikes, because the last one was very minor. I always love a Jason versus Jason or a Jason versus Freddy in those different movies. So, Kenny Kersinger wrestling with Jason.
Yes. And
then going on to play Jason later on.
Yeah.
Nice little moment. It's just one of those things that you look back on and sort of enjoy. And he gets a good walloping. He's larger than Jason, and Jason just fucking picks him up and tosses him into the mirror, which is kind of cool. So that was my last like.
Okay. Straight into the dislikes. You made a good point. Why could they not use establishing shots of New York City, its key landmarks, and then use a set?
Yeah. Well,
to play, Madison Square Garden or the Statue of Liberty or something.
Yeah. Well, the couple of ones that they brought up were that the boxing match was kind of envisioned or came out from an idea of it'll take place in Madison Square Garden. There was mention of Broadway, all these little things, and I thought, well, wouldn't it have been fucking cool if you just got a shot of them fucking running in Broadway or whatever and running into a theatre. You don't actually have to film the rest of it in New York. You just get in any old theatre.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only going to be a handful of Friday the 13th fans that go, that's not that theatre.
Yeah.
No one really gives a shit about that. That's cinema. That's what people do all the fucking time.
It kind of feels like this has got the biggest budget of all the Fridays.
Yeah.
And yet it looks as cheap as fucking chips.
Yeah.
And it looks like a TV movie.
Yeah. And, like, it continues to piss me off because I look at fucking Lloyd Kaufman making the Toxic Crusader, Toxic Avenger movies, shooting them across the river, but it looks like more of a New York fucking movie than this stuff does. Stuff like Larry Cohen ones. I remember Q, the Winged Serpent. Okay, they were flouting some fucking licenses and shit and just turning up with cameras and quickly filming something and pissing off before anyone was asking questions.
Yeah, but fuck.
But it's clear that some of that stuff is in New York.
But Jared, why is it that, okay, it's a Paramount picture, we can't do that shit? Roll up quickly with some cameras, shoot a quick couple of things and fuck off. Like, why are we not doing some sort of guerrilla work?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
and
I understand.
The other one was, because I just watched Zombie Flesh Eaters again, you watch the start where that boat is just floating on the fucking Hudson. And you look at it and again, you're like, it's clearly New York City. And then hearing Joe Bob Briggs talk about it, yeah, Fulci fucking spent some time in New York. Okay, you got the shots on the outside of the boat. Anything on the inside of the boat, or some close-ups and shit on the boat, you can do that shit anywhere. You don't need to be, you don't have to have that New York background. You've already established that shit. And again, he whipped together a van full of fucking zombies, jumped on, was it the Brooklyn Bridge? Yeah. Got him to walk across and got a couple of fucking fantastic shots. And then got out of there before anyone noticed. But you're telling me Paramount couldn't get... You promised this movie. It really feels like one of the highlight examples of what Paramount fucking felt this franchise was. And this one, it felt like they fucking ripped us off.
Yeah, they couldn't give a toss about it.
Yeah, couldn't give a toss. They'll just get the ticket sales and then they won't deliver on what it was.
And to me, it just once again showcases that Rob Hedden is just not a good director at all. Like, there seems to be absolutely not a single fucking moment of ingenuity in any of what he does. It is just shot like fucking any idiot could have done.
No craft?
No craft. Like, I could have done it. and I don't have any skill in that realm.
Yeah.
Because all of them were just static, simple shit. As ingenious as he got was the camera inside Julius's head. Yeah. Which is a useless shot. It's just a useless shot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Rob Hedden was the guy to direct this at all. And this is, again, what Paramount seemed to think of this, I think.
Yeah.
Is that, he had the idea. Fuck, he can direct it.
Yeah.
Instead of going, you know what, let's find somebody who's hungry and willing to take a few chances on it.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you right now, if they pull up in New York City... quick and dirty, get a couple of actors out, let's do it. You've got 2 takes or 3 takes, let's fucking do it quick. And if the cops turn up, what are they going to do? Like, at the end of the day, we're shooting a Friday the 13th movie. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, this is the thing. They seem to not be interested in that, but then they were fucking, weren't they... You know, they were putting fake names on shit so union people wouldn't come and visit and stuff like that. So they're obviously cutting corners somewhere.
Well, you're happy to play the guerrilla game back in the early 80s.
Yeah.
But now you don't want to do it?
Yeah. And I think that's one of the most lingering... Like, you just felt cheated. Every time you watch it, you feel a little cheated. Especially when guys like Fulci and Larry Cohen are getting that shit done. Like, yeah.
With nothing, with no money.
Yeah. So, yeah, that stings. It still stings.
And with no backing. Like, Rob Hedden can say to the cops, Paramount Picture, this is a Paramount picture. You can ring Paramount.
Yeah.
You know, Paramount will back the fact that yes, this is a legitimate film.
Yeah.
Fulci and Cohen were making shit on the fucking slide. They didn't want to tell anyone.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've got actors talking in different languages to each other.
Exactly. These guys needed to get the hell out of there before they were deported. Jesus Christ.
So, I think, I can't get over that. It really still stings.
It sticks right in me.
Because you just see you've seen so many movies do it now and get something that at least you say, well, I mean, Scream 6 did the same thing. They weren't in New York for much, but you see portions of it and you're like, yeah, it's more than...
It looks a little bit like New York. Yeah. It is in parts of New York, but that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid to think that they would shoot the whole film there.
No, correct. But as we said, you get a couple of those shots and then you get any old theatre and you put that set piece together of Jason in the theatre. You get it done.
Yeah. And why were they boxing in Madison Square Garden? Because if it was a boxing fight between Julius and that other silly motherfucker, I mean, you can't. That's where Muhammad Ali goes to have his fights.
I haven't heard much about it, but I would assume that it was in an empty Madison Square Garden or something.
Must have been.
And there was, for some reason, a boxing ring still in the middle. But anyway, they do pack that shit down. We know that, don't we?
Correct. As far as I'm aware, if there's not a title bout on, the fucking place it's a ice skating ring.
Yeah, exactly. So, and on the same token, I can see why New York probably weren't keen to the city of New York were not keen to cooperate, because you made the city seem like fucking hell on it.
Yeah, I thought fucking Fury Road was a bad place.
Exactly. You can't walk down... Well, for starters, we get a DJ who sounds like he's kind of a peeping Tom.
Yeah. He's mumbling some shit about, the fucking terroring people and all this stuff. And it's supposed to create this... I don't know,
gritty kind of vibe,
atmosphere or something, but it doesn't create shit. It creates nothing.
Especially when we don't see New York again for an hour. That doesn't help.
I don't think any of those shots they show at the start was shot actually in New York City.
Oh, God.
That's the worst part about it.
Yeah.
You're trying to set the scene of New York and the characters that we're going to run into.
Yeah.
At the start with that fucking prog rock bullshit that we're listening to. But for not 1 second, not one of those set pieces that involve those characters that we see within that is in New York. It's actually shot in New York. It's all shot in Vancouver.
My favourite's the businessman who's walking around with his umbrella up, but he seems to be hovering around Bartertown, as we've kind of mentioned a few times.
He gets the shit beat out of him for his wallet.
What are you doing there?
Yeah.
And then...
But you got off the train at the wrong stop, did you?
Yeah, again, she's New York, so we've got to fling it into what we later kind of come to think is a barrel of fucking toxic waste, which we'll get to later again, and then a rat crawls out of it. Like, we've just summed up New York there in a couple of shots. You got mugged, there's shit everywhere, and there's rats. That's New York. Thanks, Rob.
Oh, thanks for that. Now, coming back to Rob Hedden, Jared, because I'm not finished with him.
Okay.
I mean, I know this is an 8th film in a long-running franchise, and it's not meant to be scary, but at the minimum, you can do something.
The kills should at least be exciting.
Yes.
Or a little bit of,
But you can grab a little bit of stalk.
Yep.
There is fucking none of it.
No.
Jason just lumbers into things. Like,
yeah.
The bloke's not a director's fucking bumhole. Like, I'm actually kind of pissed off because it's clearly just another thing where Paramount just take anyone.
Yeah.
Whereas Tom McLaughlin, like, I use Tom McLaughlin as a great example, or Joseph Zito as a great example. They were not horror filmmakers.
No.
They didn't have big resumes.
No.
They weren't well known, but they clearly had some talent and they knew this is what we have to make.
Yes. Well, Zito especially has shown that on a few occasions. Tom McLaughlin, at least went to the lengths to say, well, okay, if this is what it is, I'm going to take some of the gothic inspiration and I'm going to look at Frankenstein and stuff like that, and did add a bit of that classic monster vibe to Jason in some sense.
McLaughlin also understood the brief of what a Friday was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So
minus a couple of kills.
But
we get told to add them later, and everything's fine.
Tickety boo. But bottom line with Tom McLaughlin is he wanted to bring a gothic flavour.
Yeah.
He did, but he didn't shortchange the Friday the 13th. what it was supposed to be. This feels shortchanged, it feels cheap, it feels tacky, it feels poorly made and poorly thought out.
You're really sharpening up the axe there.
I am, because, and again, I don't really... Rob Hedden seems to have gone on to have a reasonable career, and from everything I've read, this was not his bag.
No.
This stuff was not his bag.
It didn't seem like he was keen to do it all that much, other than an opportunity.
Yes. So I appreciate the fact that I understand he took an opportunity, and it's a major film. Yeah. But he didn't know what he was doing.
No, probably not.
Or what he was supposed to do with it.
No, that's fair.
And it's clear to see.
Yep.
So the logistics of Crystal Lake somehow kind of emptying out into an ocean and then getting them to New York makes no sense in any way.
No, probably not.
Like, there's no connective tissue. Was there anything said that I missed?
I don't think so.
I think he does say in the documentary that they tried to come up with a way to sort of say how that was happening. Yeah. But it wasn't working.
Yeah. And I think, it just came down to who gives a fuck. Yeah. Even if people ask that question, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, we just won't bother providing an explanation, and no one will be able to no one's any the wiser. But yeah, it's kind of silly.
Yeah. Well, it just looks silly. Yeah. The whole start bit.
It does. Yeah, we go from a little thing just floating around on Crystal Lake.
Just next to the camp.
And then next thing you know, we're fucking just about running into a cruise ship.
Yeah, it's stupid. Okay, Jason, it looks the worst he's ever looked. The clothes, the special makeup on his arms doesn't look very good. He's constantly covered in goo. Yeah.
I get it. I'm okay with the wet look. But he doesn't... as you said, it's constantly fucking slimy, and it pales in comparison to part 7 for me. Oh, yeah. They got that right. They got the weathered, grubby, zombie Jason sort of look really right. Yeah. For mine.
And he'd been underwater for years as well.
Yes, correct.
He dried out like a piece of jerky.
Yeah, he was a large... I don't know. It's kind of like
It's a human jerky.
Combination between like a jerky and a fucking some sort of wood. There's a little bit of crunch and a little bit of dust involved. Yeah, probably. Right. So yeah, that's a downer, a big downer.
And his face is just a.
His face is a fucking fiasco. It's a fiasco. Yeah. When it comes off, oh my god. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. Even now, having seen it a bunch of times.
They really cocked that up.
Yeah, really got it
like,
wrong.
And
kind of looks like cookie dough. It's the nailed cake version of Jason's head. Like,
I understand that you're on a tight schedule here. Yeah. But fuck, you've got $5 million in part 3, which was made for $3 million. They looked at the first head that was sculptured and they didn't like it. Yeah, they did it again.
Exactly. Like when you see this,
you go.
Someone says, I can't shoot that. The mask's going to stay on, or we do something different. Like, because I can't put that on camera as much as they ended up doing. Oh. Surely, it's shocking.
I know. But again, it feels like a special effects group that did not do any homework.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't want to go to that lengths because I don't know how they ended up with that. I don't have the details of how they ended up with that, so I don't want to shit on anyone's work any more than I already have by calling it a fucking fiasco. But
I don't think you can get me out of it, can you? Fuck, you may as well just dig right into it.
There must have been a reason why. I don't think anyone in that special effects group comes in and says, here we go, this is what we've come up with, we put our absolute best into it, there's been no restrictions placed on us whatsoever, budgetary, time, none of that. We were able to just kind of really see this one through, and this is where it's landed. I don't think anyone comes in and says
but
that
with this. It does not resemble any other Jason film. So that says to me you didn't look at any of them.
No.
You
Probably
clearly
not.
didn't, because I mean, even if by sheer chance you're going, okay, well, look at fucking part 4.
Yeah.
Oh, no, actually, no. We'll look at part 1 to see what young Jason looked like. Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll do nothing like it. Like, fuck off. Like, really?
Yeah. We'll do something that looks like cookie dough instead.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
A grey cookie dough.
Because the young Jason doesn't look anything like young Jason from the first
And it
film.
changes.
Yes.
Which, to me, it kind of says a few of the times that Jason pops up in her mind, that it is just a construction of her mind. But then, again, a few times it pops up and it looks very different to other ways she's fucking constructed it in her head. So, what's going on?
I don't know.
Because there's parts where his eyes are just perfectly aligned.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like Jason. Like, it doesn't look like anything like young Jason. He's got hair and stuff. And then other times, he's got the one eye lower, he's got a bald head. What's happening, Adam?
I don't know what's happening, but I will say this. There's a point in the opening part of the film where the guy tells the story about Jason. And I'll get to him in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
But he's
not getting away unscathed.
And he says, Jason, a young boy drowned in the lake. And they cut to a quick shot of Jason drowning.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, so Paramount Pictures, does it not own the original footage from the first movie? Why wouldn't you just cut in that bit where you see Jason floundering from part 1?
You tell me.
I fucking don't know.
I don't know either.
Like, I'm just absolutely... I haven't got a clue why you would do that.
No.
And maybe, is it a rights thing? Maybe some of that stuff's owned by those other guys?
Yeah, it felt to me like it had to be something like that.
But Jesus Christ. Alright.
Shit.
The music. I never thought I'd say this, but I missed Harry Manfredini.
Yeah, so did I. I mean, if he'd have whipped out the same music that he's put in 13 other films, I'd have been okay with that.
If he'd have whipped out whatever he put into Slaughter High, this one, I would have still been happy.
Of course. Absolutely.
It's really lacking.
Yeah, it is.
And I think they had Manfredini's music and Fred Molin's music in 7. And I think that worked better.
Yeah.
Kind of, Molin brought in this kind of pounding sort of beat, and Manfredini's usual stuff was sprinkled in there.
Yeah.
So, come part 8, they gave it to Molin himself, and his stuff's... I mean, you barely even hear the
No.
The only time it's even vaguely interesting is right at the start, that the Paramount logo's coming up.
And he starts doing a similar thing, but it's Jay, isn't it? Jay. Like, yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, can't really add any further to that. I wasn't overly pleased with it either. It was basically, as you said, it didn't even register with me.
No.
It wasn't even, there was just nothing really there. Of the ways that we bring Jason back, and I kind of mentioned this before, I kind of look at it as post part 6, because part 6 is the one that established, he's fucking dead, he's in a casket. We do the Frankenstein, which is kind of cool. I like that one, even as silly as it is. I like, as we said, Tom McLaughlin's efforts to kind of throw back to a classic monster there and do things that way. 7, I know, again, some people probably don't necessarily like the Carrie vibe to any of that, but I'm like, okay, something different again. This is the least interesting way to bring him back out of those on the back of those couple
and
of
the
movies.
way, though, that both of those, the two that you mentioned, 6 and 7, the way Jason appears, so in 6 he sits up in the casket and attacks Tommy.
Yep.
And in 7 he comes walking out of the lake.
Yes.
And it's,
cool
it's a
imagery.
really cool image of him.
Yep.
This one, you see his grubby fucking hands.
Yeah. Covered in fucking... He looks like he's just been on a Nickelodeon game show.
Yeah.
And he's fucked up. So it's
He's
even fucking...
living on double dare.
Yeah.
But these hands, I mean, honestly, his fucking hands were so slimy that I was expecting him to go and just slip off.
He would have fucking killed it on Double Dare. Just fucking burst through anything.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, you're right. It doesn't look real good. It doesn't look good.
And yeah, there's actually holes in it. This is a minor thing, but there's holes in his gloves, and you can see that his fingers are perfectly fine.
Yes,
they're perfectly normal.
Yeah.
So that it ruins some of that.
It takes a little bit of the shine off, a little bit of the mystique away.
It just adds another fucking bad piece of work.
But yeah, when we clipped the fucking electrical line, I just kind of went, oh, yeah.
So
we'd seen it again. We'd seen it so many times, but it just does nothing for me.
We drop anchor and the fucking anchor goes fucking 50 metres this way.
Okay.
What a useless anchor.
yeah, that's right.
It's to weigh the fucking boat down, isn't it?
Yeah. What are we doing? Like, the boat didn't look like it was cruising along. It did look like it was steady. So how do we get... Anyway.
I guess you're about to slide out through the opening into the ocean.
Yeah,
potentially you probably need to.
But that also brings up the question: if the anchor's down and clipped on that line, how do we get to the fucking cruise ship? If the anchor's down.
Yeah, how does the boat?
I don't recall Jason fucking pulling it up.
No, Jason's a little bit fucking shrewder than we thought.
Yeah, well he is. He demonstrates that in here too.
Okay, character threads are started, but just go nowhere.
Yeah.
They're about nothing.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing between the captain and his son.
Captain.
Oh. Holy Christ,
mate! That shit. You pointed it out. It's not a fucking ceremonial position. You don't just give it. You don't just
take over.
Put your son in the thing and say, "Here we go. It's time." Like, I believe you still have to fucking obtain some sort of license to do that.
No, you don't.
And obviously,
clearly, you just take the fucking wheel.
He hadn't taken the test. I mean, tooting the horn is the easiest thing to do. I'd be pretty confident I'd pass that phase of the test.
Well, admittedly, of course I would. I'd be doing
yeah, they'd have to tell me, yeah, you've done that. You can move on to the next one now. No, one more. just got to make sure everyone knows.
It is
safety first.
Tooting the horn for fucking 10 minutes, idiot. It's toot the horn once. And then put a radio distress
thing on. You tell me, okay, what's next? Alright. You fucking failed the test. Get out of here. Sorry. Can I do it once more before I leave?
I've just finished fucking high school. I'm pissed and partying.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been tooting the fucking a song every time I got on it.
Yeah.
But
based on the form we see from the rest of the students through the film, his dad goes, "This is a sextant," and I'd be there going, That's the maturity level displayed by these students throughout the movie.
And look, surely that guy wasn't using a sextant. There's no fucking...
No.
Like they were using in the 1800s.
yeah. Don't worry about that, Dad. I'll just look at the stars and I'll fucking find my way from there. I won't even turn this shit on, If I did turn it on, you could probably go to sleep and we'd still be alright because this shit's fucking steering for you. But don't worry about it.
It's supposed to be that he gets them to New York.
Yeah.
But that means shit. It means nothing.
Well, given that we fucking don't even... We barely see New York, yeah, you're right.
But what he hasn't realised is that, of course, they're in Vancouver.
Exactly.
They're not in New York City.
Is British Columbia okay for you guys? Because that's where we are. Sorry. I did my best. If only I had Dad's sextant here.
Yeah, exactly. I looked at the stars and I thought we were in fucking New York. So, okay. Him being a captain, useless.
Yep.
Rennie's issues with Uncle Charles... and some teacher that we barely even know. Yes, some of that's more resolved because, the whole thing of Charles pushed her into the water to swim and she had the whole incident with Jason and all that.
Yeah.
That's kind of resolved. But some of the other stuff isn't.
No.
Like there seems to be a love-hate relationship between the teacher and Charles, but that lasts for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly right.
And then don't even get me started about JJ. the fucking guitar girl
rock
was
star.
clearly not playing it.
Well, you know, she's ripping out a few chords.
You know, she's meant to be playing the guitar and she's not.
Yeah.
And then she says we should shoot a video. He says, I've got to get some documentary footage. She says, Tamara's not interested in you. And then 2 seconds later, she's downstairs and she had her head bashed in.
Yeah.
And I said to you, what kind of part is that for an actor?
Yeah.
But the actor would have just been like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm doing nothing.
I'm just,
It's
as you
one
said,
day's
it's a day's work. It's not good work.
Good Lord, like what a waste. Like what a waste of a character.
Yeah. It was kind of... I mean, JJ was the least of my concerns. But
But what I'm saying is it just continually showcased that you prioritise deaths, and this is actually not Rob Hedden's fault. Because I can guarantee you that's what the studio would have been saying. Yeah. You need to kill this many people.
Yeah, of course. So you always have characters...
I mean, the worst one is the dude who climbs a ladder and gets thrown onto some side. I think he talks once.
Yeah. He's the bloke that would have giggled when they said sexting.
Yeah.
For sure. But again, we go back to Tom McLaughlin. Remember the couple in the car?
Yeah.
They're not exactly deep roles.
But it's kind of humorous. It's banter.
Makes a bit of sense. You'd say it's reasonably worthwhile if your aim is we've got to get a couple extra people in here to get this done. I think the captain thing just goes nowhere other than to have him find their way in the rowboat, and everyone else is just sort of there doing their thing. Tamara gets a little bit to do, but it's kind of just just to cause a bit of, just sling a bit of mud and throw a bit of shit in the mix and
throw a bit of coke.
Kelly Hugh, I can't remember her character name, but she doesn't get much to do either. She just kind of tacks on and
nobody's fleshed out.
No.
The only reason Julius stands out is because he is. I feel like the actor brings more to the table.
Yeah. Yeah,
and actually makes the character stand out.
Yeah, he makes it
without that actor. If you took someone who was perhaps not as charismatic or whatever you want to go with, that character disappears.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's not necessarily Rob Hedden's fault in this case, because I feel like the studio mandate was you kill as many people as you can.
No, I think you're right, and also, I mean, Uncle Charles. Some people love that kind of villain work in this one. It's so fucking one note.
Yeah.
There's not a shred of fucking depth beyond him being a rampant arsehole, which, yes, in particular circumstances is going to work and is meant to evoke a reaction from me in wanting Randy and co to achieve their goals and him fucking stepping in the way all the time.
Yeah.
But there's got to be more than just that and nothing else, doesn't there?
Correct. And
especially if he's in the role of your primary carer and he's going to come up with this supposedly complicate her fucking emotions down the track when she remembers, thanks to a fucking quick speedball in the streets of New York.
Oh, yeah.
You remember,
which I believe is what you do when you go there.
Yeah, of course. That's all you do apparently. But yeah, I can't stand him. Like, he just wears you down.
Yeah.
And eventually, because there's nothing else, you just know exactly what he's going to do every time.
But even
he's going to stand in opposition and be a pain in the ass, and it just fucking wears you down.
And even after, Julius tells him to stick it up his ass.
Yeah.
He doesn't even temper his style then.
Still the same.
And he keeps sort of carrying on with this, I'm in charge. Just because you're the oldest person doesn't mean you actually know anything about the cruise ship.
No.
The place is on fire. Everyone's dying. You don't know anything.
No.
So you just go along with what's going on.
This has happened on your watch. We no longer listen to you.
Quietly jump overboard and hope that you get to swim back to shore.
I'd take my chances overboard.
Well, see, Jason has no fucking opposition.
If you're taking charge of things here, I'm going for a dip.
Or I'm finding a lifeboat Titanic style. I'm not filling it up properly and getting on.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
The opening scene that we talked about earlier was showcasing New York and having that rock music and everything.
Yep.
That feels out of place. It doesn't feel like a Friday the 13th movie at all.
No.
So we come off on the wrong foot. Feels like Cobra. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Christ. If that's what you were going for, you've got problems. It feels like a different movie. And so immediately you're you're on the wrong foot.
Yeah.
And we don't see Jason until 15 minutes in, is it? Or something like that?
Yeah. Oh, I think it's a bit shorter than that.
Okay, maybe 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
We don't sort of open
We
with
have to spend a bit of time with those two.
a recap or a shot. Of, even in part 7, there's the film opens with Tina killing her father when she's young.
Yeah.
But we see Jason underwater.
Yeah.
Chained to the rock. So it already set the tone that this is what happened.
Yep.
Plus, I believe 7 starts with the whole, recap of Jason. Few have seen him and lived and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that does a good job of that. Whereas 8 doesn't start with that. It just starts with this god-awful music and this god-awful idiot DJ rambling on and these shots of supposedly New York and the kind of bad characters we see there.
Yep.
Doesn't feel right.
No.
It's a real bad way to start.
Yeah, it doesn't get you off on the right foot, that's
No.
for sure. And then we go into the boat.
Yeah.
With those two fucking nuffies that are carrying on in there. As you said, old mate on the boat there. I mean, number one, I had the issue with how they brought Jason back together, like how they brought him back into the picture. But the way of getting the mask, it's one of the worst of that too.
It's primarily an entire sequence of him cock blocking himself. He cock blocks himself twice.
Yeah.
So she's pulling his girlfriend's undies down.
Yeah.
And then he starts going, she goes, I heard something, okay, I've got to go check. Now I am racing out there going, nah. Immediately hoofing it back.
Yeah. Pull the curtain back slightly. Look out, no, we're good. Everything's alright.
No, I'm going, who cares? Right in. I'm beginning.
Yeah.
So he cock blocks himself there.
Yeah.
He comes back and then tells the story of Jason.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, talking about getting the soft on.
Yeah. But then he proceeds to go and make that even worse.
By pranking her.
Oh, we'll get back in our embrace for another fucking 10 seconds or so before, I pull a prank on you and pretend I'm Jason. Like, if you're pulling that, she's saying, put your pants back on, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
We're done here.
Get overboard.
We are done here.
Yeah, well, that's right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that entire sequence of him faking Jason exists so Jason can get a mask.
Correct. Makes no sense to do that. It's predictable. It's
so stupid.
It is very stupid.
And then, to add to that, if you have just seen your boyfriend have a spear gun rammed through the middle of his stomach by some random character, you jump out the window. You jump overboard.
Yeah, I'm taking
You
chances.
do not hide on the boat in a tiny little... There's no space, there's no escape route.
We saw you not far from the shore.
You jump overboard.
Yeah.
Make him come after you.
Crystal Lake is a swimmer's haven, we've seen previously. There's not much to contend with in the conditions. And yeah, we had the shot previously where you saw the stuff in the background.
I actually think that would have been kind of cool. That she jumps overboard, she swims up there.
Back to the camp.
Yeah, and Jason tracks her down into the camp and kills her.
Yeah.
Just as a throwback to those films.
Yep, could have worked.
Right? So that whole sequence just sucks. It does. It's such a shit way to start the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's so sort of generic and so boring and so lacking that you're just like, ugh. And then we immediately open with, you're a great writer. Isn't that what Rennie is, a writer?
Yeah,
which is mentioned once at the start.
Yeah.
And this
so we can give you Stephen King's pen.
This used to be used by Stephen King should be fucking suing this man. No.
Yeah. Where'd you buy that? Did it come on eBay?
Yeah.
With a genuine certificate of authenticity.
I want my name removed from said film from now.
Yeah.
So it's mentioned again. It's another one of these subplots that goes nowhere. You're a writer. Here's the pen that Stephen King used in high school. I still can't stop laughing at that. Like honestly,
no one to get their hands on a pen that I used in high school because I fucking broke them all. You know they would.
Well, I dumped them in the bin. At the end of high school.
Yeah. With all my work.
Yeah, definitely. I threw my work out. I didn't want anyone to steal it.
I knew that wasn't going to be worth anything anytime soon.
Yeah. Okay.
No one was buying my projects for cash.
Now, you brought up a very interesting thing about the Crazy Ralph character, which is the deckhand.
Yeah.
He tells
it's just a crazy Ralph that smells like fish. In this one.
Yeah, exactly. But you mentioned he bails up. Is it McCulloch?
He bails up McCulloch early, but someone beforehand. I think it's. I can't even remember.
Maybe it's Sean. That's right.
I think it's Sean. Yeah.
He said, "This voyage is doomed." and then once he goes, "Yeah, tell me about it."
He walks off. Hop on the boat.
I'm thinking. So hang on a second. You're telling everybody who's on the boat this voyage is doomed. Get off. Like you don't stay on like Crazy Ralph.
Yeah.
In the first one, he tells them that the place is got to get.
He's trying to stay out of their way somewhat.
But he rides off.
Yeah, he rides off.
He comes back in part two
for reasons unknown.
Overseas and
but he's trying
to
kind of peek in to see. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't consider that he was trying to involve himself. This bloke just says your voyage is doomed. Hop aboard. As you said, tickets.
Yeah, tickets please.
I'll collect. Make sure you got it because I'll collect when I jump on there. Too.
This voyage is doomed, and stay away from the second level I've recently mopped. Like fuck, come on. Like come on, mate. Like that is not the point of Crazy Ralph.
No,
Crazy Ralph is to tell you not to go there.
But wouldn't they don't made just sense that he's on the boat and then kind of decides it's doomed once they're off? Like once they've set sail?
That makes more sense, yes. But even this thing, he tells them that they're doomed.
Yeah.
And then the next thing we get is the deckhand's gone missing. We haven't been able to locate the deckhand, so he's the killer.
Yeah. That's the only sensible thing Charles says in the whole movie.
Yeah.
It must be him. Yeah, fuck, I'd be pointing fingers in that direction too.
Well, yeah.
He keeps whispering weird shit to me.
He told me something about being doomed and the fact that one of the toilets was clogged. I don't know.
He blamed me.
I was listening. They try to show the boat. It's a party atmosphere on the boat, and they cut around these tiny little groups doing these piss poor things. Like skeet shooting and fucking. There's like a disco, but there's like 10 people at it.
So tell me this: we got the skeet shooting. Why didn't we involve that in a kill somewhere?
Yeah, well, they got the guns and stuff for it.
Yeah. The disco they tried to throw in a little bit there,
but he just skeet up.
Perfect for that. Yeah, that's a prime example of you didn't really do much with it, but yeah, none of it looks convincing.
No,
you can tell there's 8 people on board.
Yeah, 8 to 10 maximum. And I know they have the flooding and the fire and everything. And it's like, well, everyone else died.
Yeah.
Because they were in the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
But it just feels so lo-fi. It's again another situation where you've taken this big time concept and you've shrunk it down into nothing.
Yeah.
Like by pinching pennies, you have shrunk this into absolutely nothing. And again, I feel like this isn't necessarily Rob Hedden's fault. And I'm not shying away from the fact that I think his direction is really poor. And what he actually ended up writing is poor. But if he'd have been given some more money and maybe given more time in New York City to do a bit more, perhaps it would have been a better product.
Well, it definitely would have been better. Can't say that for certain, but I feel it really would have been a much more interesting kills. Yeah. Possibly more exciting from that chase sequence kind of perspective. Like, yeah. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. And then why are we pushing people off cruise ships? I mean, people fall off cruise ships.
That shit's not funny.
Immediately.
Yeah, like that happens regularly.
You can't turn... It's got a fucking wide turning circle, mate. You can't just turn around.
Yep.
So, Rennie's gone.
Yeah. Well, Tamara's facing some pretty hefty consequences.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Although, again, getting back to Uncle Charles, when he kind of fucking bursts in and says, "Where's your project?" Mate, that shit's before you get on the boat. If you haven't delivered your project, you're not on the boat.
Look, I didn't deliver my project.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
I sit there now and I say, I'm on the boat.
Yeah.
I don't have my project. Why would I have my project on the boat?
Yeah.
As you pointed out, he says it's a biology project, doesn't he? So he's like... We
start dissecting frogs.
Do I have to go and fucking catch a frog and then cut it up on here? Or what do we...
Yeah. What sort of... Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's another one of these, it tries to use the whole blackmail thing, which fucking goes nowhere either.
Yeah. Stupid.
And this is what I mean. You throw this in there, you say that Tamara's blackmailing Charles and Wayne is her sort of minion.
Yeah.
And then she's immediately killed.
Yep.
And that is just, there's nothing further.
Mm. Yeah.
So why is it in there?
And as we said...
Why couldn't Tamara just be the bitch?
Charles is putting up quite a feeble fight when she tries to push him on the bed and stuff.
Don't, she says.
And then she pushes him down there and he's kind of laying there with his arms.
Then he starts groping his hands and shit.
He's kind of don't stop that. Like, it's kind of just... It's laughable. No. It's laughable.
Don't even go to her room.
No, that's
Again,
right.
The biology project, who gives a shit? If I'm Charles, I don't care. I'm going to New York.
We checked that list beforehand. 2 days before we were due to get on the boat, we wrapped up, the check-throughs of the biology projects, and anyone that didn't have them was on the fucking blacklist.
Yeah.
So you're not getting on.
Okay, so somehow you got on here. Who cares? Why am I going to butt heads with you?
Yeah, we'll figure that out later. Yeah, it's stupid.
Fucking ridiculous.
Stupid. I'm endlessly impressed. It never fails to impress me, Jason's knowledge of electronics and electricals and wiring and, his ability to just know that if I yank this particular cord, that's going to fucking put the communication system of the whole cruise ship out. Because as far as I can tell, this is the first time this motherfucker's fucking had any awareness of what a cruise ship actually is.
I know. Jason is... very resourceful. He's extremely resourceful.
The man doesn't get enough credit.
He doesn't. I mean, he can walk underwater by himself. Nobody has an intricate knowledge of not only the electrical system, but he also sets off the fire alarm, doesn't he? Or he does something later on.
Yeah. I've been led to believe by some of these tall tales that Jason would struggle to read.
Well, I asked the question,
when has he been through? I'm certain he wasn't on any ship when we went through the emergency procedures and discussed that this is the thing that we pull if there's a fire.
And
how does he know?
But I remember in part 2 I mentioned that. Did he ring Alice?
Yeah, he did.
Does that fucking potato head know anything about rotary phones? He's been living out. He's living in a fucking hoarder's apartment.
Well, he saw his apartment.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
It's a shit bite.
It is definitely one without flushing water that has a large pile of turd because you can't flush it.
Exactly. He has no concept of using a rotary phone.
No.
Right?
Hell
now,
no.
Someone rings up Alice.
Yeah.
My assumption is it's Jason.
If you handed Jason 2 tin cans on a string and gave one to him and held one yourself and asked him, what do you think we do with this? He'd be looking at it for a long time to try to figure it out.
He then strangles you.
Wraps it around your melon. But
there is no fucking concept that this guy could know anything about anything. And if you're going to say to me, well, you just have to swallow it. No, I don't have to swallow it. Because you're asking me to swallow the fact that a fucking Camp Crystal Lake, a lake, empties out into the ocean. So you want me to swallow that?
I'll swallow that.
But also swallow that Jason is a fucking electrical engineer. But on top of that, Jason is also a teleportation fucking specialist.
Oh yeah, of course. That's his skill at the teleportation is never better than this one.
He moves like a fucking cat.
Two prime examples. So we've got the ladder, where we see, it's literally 2 seconds, where we see a clear ladder behind the guy.
Yeah.
Before Jason kind of standing there looking at him just shortly before that. I reckon it's, 2-3 seconds, bang, he's on him. And then we get the one where Charles sees Jason and then runs, but keeps looking over his shoulder like
and then slips into a building.
It's almost like a POV shot. So we're kind of led to believe he's looking at Jason, slips into a building. Seconds later, he's being hurled out the second-story window.
But are we sure he wasn't thrown out by a group of drug dealers?
Well, it could have been. He might have walked in on a deal that he wasn't supposed to be fucking seeing.
Yeah, that's right. But, he teleports like nobody's business.
No.
And this is what I mean. This movie, and unfortunately Rob Hedden brings it up in the documentary numerous times, that we just got to a point where we could not give a fuck whether the audience was willing to accept something or not.
Yeah.
We just decided that, they just love to see Jason. But the problem is, no.
But
we've actually grown tired of seeing
Jason. There's reasons we love to see Jason.
Yes.
And you didn't kind of...
You didn't cover any of them.
Yeah.
And you can't just say, you just swallow it. It's fun, it's entertainment. No, because it's actually not very entertaining either.
At this point, I'm swallowing it like fucking Jason swallows lake water.
I know.
Being under there for fucking 4 years.
And vomits it back up randomly at the end.
Of course. Yeah.
But it's just, Jason is a fucking idiot.
But
so there is clearly no way he could know any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas what I would have done was, you do get in because there is no fucking point of them contacting the Coast Guard. What does it matter?
Well, wouldn't it make sense that they
there's a storm, the fucking boat catches fire not long after they make the Mayday call, and then it starts to sink.
But I was going to say, even if they did contact the Coast Guard, wouldn't that work? Because it's a couple more people for Jason to fucking pick off.
No, but it's easy. The Coast Guard responds with, the storm puts us in an impossible position. We can't come out and rescue you.
Coast Guard responds with, who's on the line here? I haven't heard of any fucking captaincy credentials from you, young man.
Pull the horn 4 times. Play me the complicated rhythm.
Oh, that's the secret, the international secret symbol. That's how we'll know that you have passed your fucking captaincy exams.
But it makes no sense, Jared, because everything else, the boat starts to go down.
Yeah.
So why do we care that we got in touch with the Coast Guard? Why does Jason have to disable the radio? We can just easily... There is such an easy way around it.
Just to demonstrate that he's capable of so much more than we give him credit for, Adam.
And he always seems to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
We're making a call on the radio, and Jason's suddenly at the radio tower going...
Yeah.
I reckon there should be a scene of him just pulling every fucking wire he can find. And none of it's working, you know?
Yeah.
It's just... Again, I feel like it's this... It's Paramount, and it's the producers, and it's Rob Hedden with absolutely zero respect for the audience, because it's basically saying we don't care that they won't. Jason's fucking teleporting everywhere, but who cares?
Yeah, they won't ask us about that.
Yeah,
well, we kind of do. We do a little bit if you just do it with fucking impunity.
Yeah, exactly. There's all these stupid unanswered questions, or questions that don't need to be answered, but you decided that you'd make a fucking mockery of it.
Yeah.
So that's the bit that pisses me off.
Yeah, that's annoying. Getting back to Charles, he deserved much worse.
Much worse.
His kill sucks.
He's the most fucking irritating character in the whole movie.
He's possibly the most irritating character in the whole series. He's up there.
Interesting. I need to rewatch them all.
Yeah.
To find that out. But, yeah, I mean, Shelley, and that fucking
Shelley's up
peanut
there.
who wants Vic wants to help Vic with the fucking woodworking stuff.
Yes.
He's up there too.
He's up there. There's a handful of them, but Charles is up. Charles is in the mix.
Oh, definitely in the mix.
And it's such a...
It just dumps him in a barrel of... Is it toxic waste?
Well, I mean, it's New York City, so I'm assuming.
I believe...
If it was British Columbia, it'd be a fucking vat of, I don't know, sparkling water or something.
I think that what happens, this is, what it would seem, judging by this film, is that you put your bins out, you put your fucking recyclables, and you put your toxic waste next to it.
Correct.
So there's always a barrel of toxic waste.
There's always a barrel of toxic waste handy in New York.
Because he gets dumped in that, he gets drowned, it's
Drowns.
really fucking low rent.
Yeah, terrible.
And it even looks really bad, it's shot, and Kane Hodder's holding his legs and going like a
wiggling around.
It just looks so stupid.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the low points.
Definitely.
Again, just back to that, was there a period in the history of New York City that I'm unaware of where people just randomly dump toxic waste on the street? Or that was a legitimate concern?
No.
Well, how come it fucking always pops up in the movies?
Which movies? Apart from this?
Toxic Avenger?
Yeah,
Just shit around the streets. At least in the Toxic Avenger, the municipal services seem to be picking the shit up. It's on the back of a truck.
There is actually something going on there.
But also, so why is there fucking vats to shit everywhere?
I fucking don't know. I don't know. I can't actually answer the question of...
I know we're meant to...
we're pretty lucky it was run into you. I mean, the fucking sewers flood with toxic waste in midnight. What?
Okay, is this the same sewers we're using to kind of move water around to kind of find uses for that water? Or the sewerage or whatever, We do treat some of that shit. And
it's fucking New York City, not Chernobyl.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure there would still be fucking concerns about like gases and shit coming off that are, wafting up into the well-populated streets of New York City, wouldn't there? It's a city that never sleeps. There's still people on the streets at midnight.
But why? What? But what's the explanation? Like, the guy goes, it floods out with toxic waste at midnight, and then he proceeds to say nothing further. The first question.
Why is that? Why does that happen?
Yes. Why the fuck are we washing out the sewers with toxic waste?
Yes. And I'd think if it happened at midnight yesterday, and I'm fucking treading my way through where it was, there might be some issues still. Am I wrong there?
Yeah.
Or I might need some sort of suit.
It's corrosive, isn't it?
I don't know.
Fuck. Well, yes. I mean, it turns Jason into a boy. Holy shit! And then again, it's another one of these things where I keep coming back to people who couldn't give a fuck about the questions that this movie was going to raise.
Yeah.
Is toxic waste flushing the sewers? Question number one. Not answered correctly.
Not answered
in any way.
Why your household toxic waste hasn't been picked up in weeks?
I don't know about you, but I use a lot of toxic waste in my cooking.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of meals that you possibly classify as toxic waste that have come out of your kitchen.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's still a couple. But what I mean is, okay. So household toxic waste is an issue.
There's a separate issue to the flooding of all the rest of the toxic waste, all the industrial toxic waste.
I did totally separate. Like, we can't answer all the fucking questions in this movie, but
we deal with one at a time.
One at a time. This is the first one. You're flooding the fucking area of toxic waste, right? Okay, so.
Yeah.
We told Rennie and Sean they've got to get the hell out of here. Yeah, old mate, fucking Bill Nye the Science Guy down in the fucking sewers gives us zero explanation. There's a toxic waste coming through in a minute. Just be careful. Then Rennie punches the top of like a bucket. There's a fucking random bucket of toxic waste.
Lucky it's in a material that doesn't corrode.
Oh, clearly, because it's got nail on the side, because she picks it up by hand.
Must be the same material that the ladder's made of, because that's still there, even though it's been fucking bathed in toxic waste every night for the last however long. I don't know. Seems like a well-placed city.
Fucking plan.
A well-placed kind of city institution.
Was Giuliani in charge of New York City at the stage? Because maybe the toxic waste thing is legit. He was involved.
No.
But she then throws toxic waste in Jason's face. But by holding the bucket, which would have been fucking splashing toxic waste everywhere.
Yeah.
And it probably would have been on the edges of the bucket.
Yeah.
And Jason's face fucking immediately starts going, and then he goes, that stupid looking fucking head of his. But, so there's a question.
Yeah.
And then it disintegrates Jason into a little boy.
That seems plausible.
Well, what the fuck was that about?
Yeah.
And even Rob Hedden, listening to him, he tries to say, he does not even bother to explain why they went there. His thing is kind of like circling back to the first movie. Huh? What the fuck are you talking about?
You circle back as much as you want, but it doesn't make sense, Rob. Like all you've done is made me continue to fucking walk in circles trying to figure it out.
But when you're circling back to Friday the 13th, I don't remember toxic waste involved.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fuck, what are you talking about? Like, why are you doing this?
I don't think he knows.
And then, remember they were going to have that sequence where the little boy comes out of Jason's mouth? They cut that out?
Oh my god.
There was a deleted scene where they had built a fake head and they had the little boy come through as all the water. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah. All I come around to is it's her
manifestation.
It's her, the manifestations of her fears. I don't believe, like, in the well, it makes no fucking sense if Jason is there during her swimming lessons, and I feel like it's just like a manifestation of her fears and what fucking Charles is, the trauma that Charles is fucking.
And what kind of asshole does that?
Well,
pushes a small child into a swim.
I believe if you talk to Laurie Lawrence, he'll tell you the best way to fucking teach someone to swim is just drop him in a deep lake,
pick him up by the arse of their shorts and just go up and
safest way to do it. Where they can't touch the bottom, there's no chance of touching the bottom.
You know what? I remember actually going to classes to learn how to swim.
Yeah.
I didn't just get chucked in the water and get told you fucking...
And I recall a tapering kind of pool edge. So that if you got above your head, you could just kind of scurry up a couple of steps. No, that's not the way.
It's not in the fucking Charles McCulloch handbook about how to swim.
Of course.
Noted swim coach.
Noted swim coach. But I believe that's just like a manifestation of... Because it just continues to just pop up in places it couldn't possibly be for the rest of the movie. And then it couldn't possibly... Toxic waste could not possibly turn Jason into a little boy. So... That's where I sit.
Well, this is the thing.
I can't go any deeper than that.
But could it?
I go fingernails.
Because toxic waste seems to be everywhere in New York City. So
Jason should have been a boy from the time he fucking stepped on the shore.
Yeah.
Stepped on the dock.
Even Jason didn't want to go to New York.
No.
So nasty. He was like,
Jason was can we do this back at the boat?
Yeah. Let's just finish this up back here. But
I mean, I've already cut all the cords and done all that shit.
All the supernatural stuff does not work.
No.
Does not work, has no place.
No.
And people would argue, well, you know, part 7 was going down a supernatural route anyway.
Yeah.
Part 6 kind of went down it a little bit.
Yep.
7 does it better because it puts one against him.
Yes.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's just it's a sort of like Carrie versus
And it's
Jason.
easy to understand. It's easy to understand. She controls things with her mind.
Yeah.
Just like Carrie did.
Exactly.
So even if it's, you know, you buy that shit or you don't, nothing kind of goes, well, hang on a minute. Everything that she does with her mind is like, yeah, that seems within the realm of what's been established that she can do.
Yes, exactly. Now, I believe Rob Hedden said something about we were going in a supernatural route.
Sorry, I went a little far with that. I don't believe she could fucking bring back a person who was supposed to have been dead for donkeys. and come back looking like he's just had a quick dip.
Are you talking
A little bit of a blue hue
you
to
talking
him.
about his father?
Yes.
Her father?
Yeah, her father. And Jason. She's done it pretty successfully a couple of times.
Fucking hell, mate. I mean, who else is coming out of that lake?
Yeah.
I mean, I believe in part 7 where I remember asking the question when she said, I saw someone come out of the lake. A man. Which man? How many are in there?
Yeah, there's a few. There's a couple in there.
How many drowned blokes are in that?
Well, there's
fucking
those
lake?
two, but Jason certainly stashed a couple in there, hasn't
Oh, for sure.
he? Yeah.
But the supernatural element, and Rob Hedden, I believe, says it in the documentary, it was kind of like to stay in keeping with the Freddies and that, who was, Freddie was starting to become super popular and, we wanted to keep...
Yeah. Different series, Rob.
Yeah, that's called The Nightmare on Elm Street, mate. We're not making one of them. But it doesn't work.
Yeah. No.
At no point is any of that shit interesting.
No, I don't believe
It's
it.
the trauma that she went through and all this stuff.
No.
Make it fucking simple.
Yeah, make it simple, a hard and fast rule. Like at midnight, you've got to be out of the sewer. Everyone understands that.
That is honestly the dumbest fucking thing that this series has ever cooked up.
Well,
Now, can you do... I'm Googling this shit later.
What? The toxic
Where the
waste?
toxic waste went through the
Yeah,
sewer.
I want to know the history of toxic waste in New York.
Yeah.
Where it used to fucking...
Because I believe they were burying it somewhere. Like, not...
Yeah. I thought they were burying it.
They weren't
But
pouring it
also,
down to sewer.
if there was this fucking toxic waste setup that they've got, it's not at midnight. You just don't go near that shit.
Yeah.
Unless you're well equipped.
But who's...
Even the worker wasn't equipped. He didn't have a fucking hazmat suit on.
So who pulls the trigger on it?
Rude.
You got to, like, there's got to be a big fucking thing full of toxic waste that you then pull the thing and it goes...
I imagine it's just like a massive bucket, like at a water park that just kind of fills up to a certain level and then just goes...
So where is that? Who's got involved in it?
Who's got it?
Fucking nobody knows.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I think that's the worst ending of any of them.
Yeah. Like, as you said, even if you attribute it to the mental kind of thing, you're still sitting here with so many questions.
I've got plenty.
Yeah, like she
still
doesn't
got
know what he
I'm
looks like.
sort
She
of
clearly
thinking-
doesn't know what he looks like because every time he manifests in her imagination, he looks fucking different. Anyway.
That's it for me.
Yeah, I think that's pretty well covered it for me too.
Yeah.
We've been talking on the dislikes for quite some time, I believe.
I'm going to put
I didn't kick for the fucking Crazy Ralph character enough.
No, yeah, because
He's constantly hanging around saying something stupid,
And-
is clearly like he without visually seeing it, he hears Jason kill some people, and then kind of just looks side to side and fucking walks off.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going over.
You are derelict in your duties, sir. Fuck.
Go clean the toilet. Yeah. But that's all I have.
Yeah. No.
I'm going to say that's the worst Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah. I think Jason Goes to Hell's a bit more fun than this.
Yep, I think even 5, which I
5.
can't stand either.
Yeah.
But at least I look at Demon and I get a laugh.
I get a couple of laughs in there. A couple of the sillier elements of that one I do find funnier than this one.
Yeah.
And even though it's a little bit kind of seedy in some aspects, again, there's not as many questions on what's going on.
Yeah, but it's also...
Other than the
it is a
haphazard
straight...
police work that couldn't
It
figure
is
out
a
what
straight
was going
slasher.
on.
It's a straight slasher.
Yeah.
This one is trying to meld slasher and supernatural and failing miserably at both.
Yeah.
Which is very problematic. And
If
of
you
all
were
the
looking at
Fridays...
Freddy, how did you end up with this?
I don't know. But of all the Fridays, this is the one that's least entertaining.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
That's, I think, where you got to go with it. That those movies are about entertainment, and that this is very, very, very lacking
Light on.
in entertainment.
About as entertaining as a fucking midnight bath in New York City in the sewers.
Oh, yeah. It's about as entertaining as fucking farting in an elevator. All right. You can find us on Podomatic, iTunes and Spotify. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, on Instagram at Thrill Me Podcast AU, and at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for the details of the next film. But until then, take it easy and we'll catch up with everyone later. Cheers.
Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.